Thank you very much. Good afternoon, colleagues, geologists. I'm not a geologist myself, I'm an archaeologist, and I'm happy to represent my country to talk about the Miocene Primates Paleontological Site of Napak, Uganda. The site we are presenting about is one of the richest universal sources of the early Miocene and a well-preserved primates associated with amazing fossil fauna and flora. They have already mentioned my name, but present here is Martin Pickford, professor, and Sarah Musarizi, who is also a paleontologist. Napak is located in Uganda, in the northeastern Uganda, and the site is within the paleovolcano systems, whereby we have different mountains which erupted, or which the geology tells us that they are about 20 million years. And among the vast areas of these mountains, we have the critical ones, or the important ones, some of which are the Axum, which is around Ilili. We have a lake, and many others around. So this is basically the system and the area that we work in. In terms of the geology and the geomorphology of the area, the site we are talking about is within this kind of the lithology, and the main important thing to note here is that we are within the sediments of the Mozambique belt, gneiss and schist. You can see it takes the largest component of the site, but most important, we have the Molunga belt here, where we have this volcanic vent, and this is where we have I would say, where the outstanding universal value of this site would be. And on this site, we see the Napak early Miocene paleovolcano, which is also viewed from the south, from the south as you go to this kind of this site. Again, on the lithology, of course, we see also one of the largest component of the carbonite nephthite, tuffs and lavas, and the aggregates, which also covers part of the site. Then in the pictorial part of it, the sites we are looking at: the Molunga Bell, Woman Mountain, a carbonite plug surrounded by a ring of igerite and phenite hills, with remnants of the volcanic edifice within the background. We have a lot of remnants around, and our geologists and paleontologists have been collecting for the last almost 100 years. More to say about this. Of course, the Molunga Bell, Woman Mountain, and the geological description, I've mentioned that we have the carbonite plug within the caves. These are some of the caves. We have the lithics. We can see some of the quartz lithics that we see. Of course, this shows you that from about 20 million years to maybe 10,000 within the whole scene, there is some active of the mammals and faunas, that the mammals and the fauna and other activities that are happening around the site. Also, of course, I mentioned that we see the tuffs and the lava and the aggregates of the Axum remnant of Napak, and around the Axum here, this is one of the places where we see also the acacia trees among the flora in the place that is endemic to the northeastern sides of Uganda. And this lake, of course, is viewed from an expanse of, as you come from the southeastern part, is viewed from an expanse, and it's one of the iconic features that we see around the place. Scientific tradition, I want to mention that we see that the scientists or geologists, especially by Welland, who was one of among the first geologists in the country, and he researched not only in the northeastern Uganda, but also in the southern and western parts of the country. And so he is the first person to mention about Napak and its geological formations. Then in 1940s, we see King studying also within the Second World War II. We are seeing people doing studies around Napak. In 1950s, but most importantly, I want to mention from 1985 to present, we have worked with the Paleontological expedition, and Martin Pickford is present here with us. And this team, we are proud of them because they have produced more than 100 scientific articles and published on geology and paleontology of Napak. I want to applaud you, our colleagues. Again, in terms of course, the methodology that is always used to find these fossils, they do the screening in terms of using the wire mesh. Sometimes they do the water screening, whereby they find the smallest, I would say, microfossils using water, sieving with water. And so this is part of the methodology that they use. And most importantly to note is that they work with local communities, because we normally say that heritage is for the communities, and we shouldn't alienate the communities from their heritage. So working with them is one way of sensitizing them in terms of conservation, and this has helped us a lot to ensure that the sites are conserved. Why have we, as a country, proposed or given an argument for this site to be recognized with the International Union of Geological Society? We think, or we say, that Napak is a dissected early Miocene paleovolcano posed on the Karamoja Plains, which are Precambrian Mozambican-built gneiss. They are well preserved with remnants of the African erosion surface of the late Oligocene geomorphology. In terms of, we noted before that it has the carbonite plug in the center, where we are seeing the Molunga beds, we are seeing the caves we have seen in the previous pictures, and the fulferous breccia stones and the stone stools. The plug surrounded by the ring of Igerite phenite hills in Lokopai with the black stones. Of course, we are all aware that with volcanicity, we usually have the black basalt stones, which are always coming out with volcanism. And we look at the site to have an edifice of the rich phosphorus carbonite, nephesite tuffs, palosols, and lava flows, aggregates that are 20.5 to 19 million years plus 16.5 million years ago. So, of course, apart from that, we've seen that there are stone tools which are from the Pleistocene and the Holocene tuffers, as well as the other artifacts that we have seen in the caves. The site is also having the abundant paleofauna, and of course there is a lot of acacia trees. There are different types of fauna and flora within the site, and this shows the high diversity of the steppe primates. There are more than 40 tusker and the catafine primates. The site shows, and from the pictures, I think you saw that it's a spectacular scenery, or sometimes I say that it is picturesque, and a home of many interesting extant plant and animal species. Among the diversity of Napak, we have the gastropods. There are 21 genera. We have the insecta. We have the 4 groups of insecta there. We have the amphibians. We have the aves, and the mammalia. And so, most importantly, I would note, of course, we have to mention about the Ugandapithecus major, which was discovered some few years ago. Ugandapithecus major is one of the species that is known to come from a human generation that is, or the hominins, it's a hominin that is from a human generation that is about 19 to 20 million years ago. Napak topographically has large and enough influence of the local atmospheric regime. And of course, having such of these species in Napak at present, it shows what it was some million years ago. Of course, these species shows that has survived for some million years, even when now it is no longer, we are no longer seeing a woodland. It is now a semi-arid area, but it is very interesting that we still see some of these species around the Karamoja Plains. This is the same, and one of the reasons why we think that this site is, should be recognized internationally, and it shows that there is some diverse insect and fauna, and the same was probably in the case of the early Miocene. And before I leave this podium, I want you to allow me invite my permanent secretary, who is present with us, to receive the certificate, and the researcher, Martin Pickford, Saram Sarizi. Thank you. Allow us receive them from the platform here.
Thank you so much. Please.